at Ohio State either.
I see. These are things I didn't know. I've never met Terrell Pryor in person, and sounds like it. I don't want to. So I don't really know.
This pick, then, Joe, give me your pick.
Yeah. All I know is the Cleveland Browns they stink. They're 0-14. Go bet against the Browns in the points as long as they don't cover, and they won't again this week. I'm going San Diego 24, Cleveland 13.
Okay, PepperJack.
PepperJack's got to run back to the mall real quick and take Joey's Terrell Pryor jersey, his Christmas present I bought him, back to the store.
I'd still wear it. It's the thought that counts,
All right, my man. Better than that. Tell everybody about that shirt you had on this weekend.
Where my hose at? And my nice Willy Wonka Christmas hat. Yeah, I tend to get that way.
Joey Peeps, festive as fuck.
The Pepper goes. Pepper goes the way he's been going the last 10 weeks. The Browns 0-14. If they're ever going to win, I think this is the week that they win. I still don't think they're going to win, even though San Diego pretty much packed it in last week after losing. 5.5, though, against the Browns is not a lot of points to be given up on the road. I say San Diego wins the game 28-16.
I'm with you, man. I know that San Diego probably did suitcase the rest of their season. Mike McCoy is going to wonder if he has a job. His saving grace may be that this team is moving to Los Angeles next year, and the less change, the better. But I got to tell you, the Cleveland Browns are not going to win a game this year. San Diego, packing it in or not, you do not want to be the team that loses to a team that's 0-14. You do not want that. Phillip Rivers doesn't want it. Nobody in that lineup wants it. Antonio Gates doesn't want it. They're still bent out of shape because the Raider Nation filled up Qualcomm Stadium last week so much that Qualcomm security guards were pounding their dummies staring at cheerleaders. I don't know if you guys saw that video, but it was real, and it happened. They were jerking off.
I did, man. The whole key is being discreet, and this guy,
he was tugging his dummy and going to town, man. So enough with the Chargers. Enough with the folks at Qualcomm, but they do come into Cleveland Stadium, and they're going to come in there and thump Cleveland. They should. I've heard the rumor that this is the one Cleveland wins. It's not. San Diego wins this game 30-7, regardless of anything else. Speaking of the Oakland Raiders, they host the Indianapolis Colts this week. Oakland is a 3.5-point home favorite. Over/under here is pretty steep, man. 53 points. Whoever wants it, give it to me. Take it.
I've been on the Raiders. I've been on the Raiders jock this year, man. I'm not gonna lie. Their Colts are going out to the West Coast. Just really a team. I know they're coming off a thrashing over the hapless Minnesota Vikings over last weekend. But I gotta say, this will be interesting for a minute. But I think the Raiders end up pulling this one out by a touchdown. I'm going to go the Raiders 31, Indianapolis 24.
PepperJack, what you got?
I think 39 years ago this week we had Ghost to the Post. And any Raider fan will know what I'm talking about. Raiders beat the Colts. Dave Casper, Ghost to the Post. Thank you. Raiders are one heck of a road team. I will say that. Yeah, I did too. Raiders are one heck of a road team this year. They're not too shabby at home either. 11-3 our Oakland Raiders sitting on top of the AFC West. Kansas City right on their ass. Kansas City's got Denver this weekend. I think the Raiders play Denver next weekend. So I don't think the Raiders want to drop from the 2nd seed to the 5th seed. I think that they're smelling blood. I think they want that number 2 seed. I think they want that first round bye. I think they want to host Pittsburgh or Baltimore or whomever in Oakland. So I'm going Oakland 27-20.
I'm with you, man. The Raiders, the last thing this team wants is to feel what it feels like, again, to fall from that 1 or 2 seed down to the 5th slot again. That's panic-inducing when you know you've got to travel in the playoffs. You know traveling in the playoffs changes the outcome of everything you want, that home field advantage, at least until you got to go to Foxborough, which is what it ultimately looks like. Foxborough in January, I'm jumping the gun, but it doesn't look appealing for our boys in silver and black. That said, they've got to get past these games and beat teams like the Indianapolis Colts. I know the Colts just throttled Minnesota last week, but I cannot for the life of me believe that everything is all right in Colts land and everything's been fixed. I think Andrew Luck is going to get his. He's going to find the end zone. T.Y. Hilton is going to get on top of that defense once or twice. I actually look for Philip Dorsett as a fantasy sleeper this week to probably pull one off the top. He's got the juice to take the top off the defense. Sean Smith can't cover anybody that runs any faster than Stephen Hawking. I still think the Raiders are going to find a way to win this game, and Derek Carr gets off of this slow pace he's been on.
How dare you, TL?
You snap it. Derek Carr gets loose for a change. He's had 2 slow weeks. This is the week he comes back. This is the week they get Amari Cooper into the end zone, and they're going to force him into playing. Oakland Raiders win this game 30-26, and yes, it does go, ending on a Khalil Mack sack. We want to stay that far out west. Let's take a look at Los Angeles. The San Francisco 49ers travel to Los Angeles to take on the Rams. The Rams at home without, it's a bad game.
Sorry, I just threw up in my mouth. Sorry.
The Rams are a 4-point favorite. Over-under here, 39.5. I'm making this quick. I think the Rams stink with Jeff Fisher. They stink without Jeff Fisher. Jared Goff has been cleared from concussion protocol. He will play. I'm going to bet anybody that the Rams don't score a touchdown, even though I have Todd Gurley littered throughout daily fantasy lineups just in case this week. 49ers win this game 20-9. 3 Greg Zerline field goals.
I'll even be quicker than that. The Los Angeles Rams suck. The San Francisco 49ers suck worse. Los Angeles Rams 17. San Francisco 49ers 13. Boom. Out.
Damn. PepperJack.
I tell you what, this is easily the worst game of the season not involving the Cleveland Browns. So I think San Francisco shocked the world week 1, though. If I can recall, they did beat the Rams. That could have been their only win of the year. The Rams Niners 1 win or 2 wins on the year.
They have 1 win. They are 1-13. The Rams are 4-10.
So the 49ers have lost 13 in a row. Payback this weekend, and I agree with you. Jared Goff's terrible. Now, a lot of these fantasy experts are predicting that this is the week that Todd Gurley goes off. I don't know. I don't think he goes off on anyone. So I'm gonna stick to your guns with the under, but I'm gonna say Rams get a Tavon Austin punt return or kick return to win the game 17-13.
17-13 as well. Yeah, I'll tell you what, though, this might be the one game, the one time of the year that you like the 49ers plus the points. I do think that the one redeeming factor of this Los Angeles Rams team is that front four. That defensive line is very good. Beyond that, John Fossil, who's taken over for Jeff Fisher, poor guy looked lost. I actually felt bad for him last Thursday night on the sidelines. A monkey fucking a football. It was terrible. Moving on, speaking of them Seattle Seahawks, they host the Arizona Cardinals, who have also packed it in and are on their way to vacation land. Seattle is a home favorite, laying 7.5 points. Over-under here, 43. I'm making this one quick because I don't care about this game either. Seattle should beat them. Seattle has a lot to play for. They've got to close this division out. They've already got the division locked up. I think they still need to battle for something else along these lines, but Arizona sucks. Somebody else take it because I'm distraught over what Larry Fitzgerald didn't do last week. He cost me all of my daily fantasy plays. I thought that being likely his last game in Arizona in front of a home crowd, he would have shown up and done something, but he didn't, and it flustered me. I still think Seattle's got a reason to win. 28-17 Seahawks.
I'll keep it short and sweet, like in the back seat of a car in North Park. Let's just say Seattle has to win. Yeah, well, specialty, my friend. Seattle wins this game. Seattle wins this game 31-13. They got more to play for. Cardinals are donezo, and they're going to pound them.
PepperJack.
Well, Arizona over the last 3 weeks have given up 32.3 points per game. They're done. I see this be the week that Russell Wilson owners rejoice because I think that he gets back on track. I don't see it close. I see 35-20 Seattle. Over the 43, though. Definitely over the 43.
Yeah. That's where the overs might be a nice play here. This is a 43-point line in Seattle is actually a high number. Considering most times at Qwest Field, you don't see those numbers stretching too high, but I think you're right. I think Russell Wilson does get off. He finds himself in the end zone. I think Russell Wilson finds a way to get Tyler Lockett involved this week, too, so a little fantasy star out there. Have a look at a guy like Tyler Lockett. He's dirt cheap in all these daily fantasies. And you're right, PepperJack. One of our loyal listeners who I had some recent communication with has made his way into the fantasy championship in a league he jumped in. And Russell Wilson is spearheading this charge here, so hopefully for his sake, Russell does find the end zone a few times here. And I don't think it's unrealistic, so good luck to that guy out there.
And just real quick to add to that as I mentioned, 32.3 points per game over the last 3 games Arizona's giving up, and that total is at 43. So that's pretty damn sweet. I mean, that looks like money.
It does. It's a sneaky-looking total. You hate like hell to take the overs ever in a Seattle game, but 43 is high for a Seahawks game. And it, like you said, what did you say, 32.5 is the average for Arizona? Total's gone over in 4 of Seattle's last 6 games. But those overs tend to be a little bit lower in game. They're 40.5 points, 41 points. At 43, it's inching up. But, yeah, I like it. I think that's a good call. Point that out. I'm going to make a note and probably put 1 unit on the Seahawks-Cardinals over. Can't wait to give some of that cash away. Here's a pick'em game with the resurgent Houston Texans. Unbelievable move last week that we all saw coming. Brock Osweiler saw. Tom Savage steps in. That team just woke up. They woke up, came back, fired Gus Bradley. Tom Savage like single-handedly fired Gus Bradley Sunday. This game's a pick'em. Cincinnati at Houston. No line. Pick'em over under here, 42 points. Somebody take it. There's a lot to say here.
Is this game in Cincinnati or in Houston?
That game is in Houston at Reliant Field.
Who's quarterback in Houston?
Tom Savage will start.
Wow.
Tom the Savage is starting for the Houston Texans.
Tom Butt Savage.
Butt Savage, man. This is a very, very close. It belongs. If there was a game that belonged being a pick'em, I think this would be it. Because we don't know anything really other than Tom Savage looked good in the second half against the Jacksonville Jaguars. I mean, that tells you a lot.
You don't know much. I'll tell you what. Let me take the Lions lead here.
Go ahead.
Don't know a whole lot about Tom Savage, I agree. You know a lot about Andy Dalton. You know a lot about Jeremy Hill. You know a lot about Vontaze Burfict and the Cincinnati Bengals. I think Houston is a team that realizes how close they are to the finish line to finish this division right now. They know they got to win out. Cincinnati had their Super Bowl last week when they were eliminated against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I have a very funny feeling that Marvin Lewis's voice has finally hit its expiration date, and now we're going to move on in Cincinnati. Doesn't mean this team is not going to play for him. They love that guy. They have to, by all accounts. He's done a lot of good things over the last 10, 11 years he's been there. But I think that Houston has found somebody who can at least move the ball and at least make a decision and not sit on it and get sacked or be pussified and affected by green laser beams somewhere in Mexico City. Houston, Texas.
I tell you what, I agree. I'll go 21-17 Houston for me.
All right. PepperJack?
Well, Tennessee plays at 1 o'clock on Christmas Eve at Jacksonville. I think they'll win. Colts, 4 o'clock Christmas Eve at Oakland. I think they lose. Houston's going to be watching some of those games during the day. They're going to realize that they got that golden path right to the playoffs. I think Cincinnati upsets them. Something tells me that Houston, behind whether it's Tom Savage or Brock Osweiler, either way, I think Hopkins got 0 last game, if I'm not mistaken. He might have caught 1 or 2 passes. I'm not certain. They cannot rely on Lamar Miller against the Bengals. I'm sorry. There's trouble in paradise in Houston. I'm going Bengals 23, Houston 20.
23-20, and you see Cincy with the upset. I thought that DeAndre Hopkins did find his way and get some play out of last week when Tom Savage came in, but it seemed like he seemed to have a little more rapport with guys like Ryan Griffin, the second string tight end, and that makes a lot of sense for a number 2 quarterback to come in, and he's had all his reps to the second team. So I see your point. It could go either way. There's a reason why this game's a pick 'em. I think that the folks in Vegas are just tossing their hands up in the air and saying, I don't know, you take it.
Just remember last week when they brought Savage in, he was playing against a 2-11 Jacksonville Jaguars football team.
And you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
So
Cincinnati is a much better defense, a much better coach team. Enough of a well-coached team that Gus Bradley was fired not long after that game.
Yeah.
But that being said, man, I really want this Tom Savage kid to be successful because I just like to point and laugh at Brock Osweiler. Last week, for the record in Jacksonville, DeAndre Hopkins had 17 targets, 8 catches, 87 yards. So he
didn't get them till late. I think he had 0 catches by halftime. That's
right. And then I think Tom Savage came in the second quarter. So he definitely moved him into play there. Going forward, I'm interested in watching this game on it's Christmas Day, right?
No, That's Christmas Eve at 8:25. That's your late game.
Probably won't.